Hi everybody, thank you so much for joining me. This is Pardo's Turn, my weekly Wednesday web series, but we are doing something a little different this week. The 73rd Annual Tony Awards took place this past Sunday, and I thought I'd just give you some thoughts and reactions. I love the Tony Awards. I watch them every year if I can. It's, as many theater and art families will tell you, it's their Super Bowl. I think the performances across the board are always great. You can't find any more talented people than the folks on Broadway. James Corden hosted this year, and like Neil Patrick Harris and some other fine folks, did a great job. The opening number, Do It Live, was really fantastic, as well as the Michael in the Bathroom spoof that came about halfway through the show. I could probably do without that weird cat fight in the middle of the show. If you don't remember, it was like, I don't know, it seemed like 5 or 10 minutes of talking about how nice everyone is, and then it culminated into a cat fight between Laura Linney and Audra McDonald. It was mildly amusing, but considering they didn't air a lot of the awards, it's not like we couldn't have spent that time better, and I'll get to that in a second. It's true that the Tonys historically has the lowest ratings of any major awards show, and this year apparently was the lowest yet. But I don't think that's an indictment against Broadway. As they said in the telecast itself, this was the most profitable year on Broadway. They had the most tickets sold. Almost all the shows are selling at 90% or more capacity on average. What I do think it's more of a reflection is just people watching live TV. I mean, I don't have a TV anymore. I watched at a friend's house. With Netflix and Hulu and Amazon Prime, people stream most of the content. And when it comes to live events like the State of the Union address or major sports events or award shows, they either go to a bar or go to a friend's house. Just a lot of people aren't watching live events on TV anymore. And because of that, I would really wish that the people who, whether it's CBS or whoever makes the editorial decisions when it comes to the Tony Awards, stop dumbing down the show and trying to sell it to people who aren't theater fans. Because they're not getting any more people watching it, and it just pisses off their theater fans. What we want to see is the awards. This really was clear a couple years ago when Hamilton came out and they had LL Cool J rapping Rock Island from Music Man. It's like, this is not cool. This is not getting any more people watching the show. All it's doing is wasting time and taking it away from the people who deserve to give their speeches. That year, I think Jason Robert Brown didn't give his speech for orchestrations or score for Bridges of Madison County, and Sheldon Harnick couldn't give his Lifetime Achievement Award speech. It's ridiculous. It's insulting. And this year was no different. Robert Horn won the Tony Award for Best Book of a Musical, Tootsie, which is probably one of the best books in recent memory, and he didn't give his speech. But last year, they did give a speech to Best Book of a Musical, and why is that? Because they thought Tina Fey was going to win for Mean Girls, and that would get people to watch the show. But, newsflash, she didn't win, and the gentleman from the band's visit got to give his acceptance speech instead. Sorry, Tonys. Bob Mackie, the legendary costumer, he won for the Cher Show. He didn't get to give an acceptance speech. None of the Lifetime Achievement Award people, Judith Light, who won the Isabel Stevenson Humanitarian Award, didn't get to have a speech. It was really ridiculous. If the Academy Awards can give a speech to the person who won sound mixing and sound editing, and most lay people, myself included, don't even know what the difference is, then we can give a speech to the costume designer or the lighting designer or any of the other awards that deserve proper recognition. I was happy to see that orchestrations and sound design have properly been reinstated into the awards ceremony. Now let's get to hear them talk. Some of the big winners. Hadestown obviously won the top prize as Best Musical. It also won 7 other awards, including Best Director, Best Score, Best Featured Actor in the Musical, Andre the Shields. And actually, Mr. DeShields had one of my favorite awards speeches of the night, capped off with 3 really important life lessons which he'd like to share with you all. And so would I.
1, surround yourself with people whose eyes light up when they see you coming. 2, slowly is the fastest way to get to where you want to be. And 3, the top of one mountain is the bottom of the next, so keep climbing.
Rachel Chavkin's award for Best Director was a real mic drop in terms of inclusivity and tokenism in musical theater.
My folks raised me with the understanding that life is a team sport, and so is walking out of hell. That's what is at the heart of this show. It's about whether you can keep faith when you are made to feel alone. And it reminds us that that is how power structures try to maintain control. This is why I wish I wasn't the only woman directing a musical on Broadway this season. There are so many women who are ready to go. There are so many artists of color who are ready to go. This is not a pipeline issue. It is a failure of imagination by a field whose job is to imagine the way the world could be.
Another big winner was The Ferryman. It won Best Play, Best Director of a Play, and a couple of design elements as well. Oklahoma won 2 awards, Best Musical Revival and Best Supporting Actress with Ali Stroker. I thought it was a really interesting piece, and her performance was really stunning. She gave a powerful message for those who are differently abled. Overall, at the Tonys, especially as compared to the Oscars and other award ceremonies, Tonys did a really good job celebrating diversity. Big wins for women like Rachel Chavkin, as I said, Best Direction of a Musical. There were also a lot of design elements from Hadestown led by female teams. Best Sound Design and Best Scenic Design. Sergio Trujillo, who is the choreographer for Ain't Too Proud, had a really stirring speech talking about coming here as an illegal immigrant. And as I mentioned, Ali Stroker, who won Best Supporting Actress for Oklahoma, the first person in a wheelchair to do so. But when it comes to diversity, we can't be complacent. It's like people who said that we are past racism because Obama was president. Rachel Chavkin and others may have won, but by and large, they were still in fields of white men. The problem won't get solved by giving the awards to the few people who represent the most diverse among us. Equality won't take place until all the candidates and all the jobs, frankly, on Broadway represent the actual gender and ethnic makeup that represents us in the theater community. The representation doesn't just have to do with who takes home the award. The award is really nothing at the end of the day. People want the jobs. And in fact, when we have seas of white candidates with only a few token minorities who all happen to win, it begs the question, are we actually awarding excellence or are we awarding diversity? Let's do better. Let's continue to do better. Oh, one other thing. If we're going to sit here and pat ourselves on the back for being so inclusive and representative, can we at least build Ali Stroker a ramp so she could have accepted her award from the audience like everyone else? It was kind of weird. One of my general thoughts on awards shows, and it's especially true with the Tonys, clearly there are frontrunner shows. Hadestown walked away with 8 awards for a reason. It's a spectacular show, top-tier performances, and solid design. But when a show perhaps doesn't have as strong of a book or as strong of a score, that doesn't discredit them from the wonderful costumes that they share, or the lighting that they provide, or the scenic design. I was really hoping to see David Corns walk away with Beetlejuice. I think that design of the set is just stunning. It's stylized, it's fun, it's reminiscent of the movie, but really inventive in its own right. Nothing against Hadestown, but that was one that perhaps it didn't need to walk away with. One of the most impactful parts of any award show for me is the In Memoriam section. We lost a lot of people in our Broadway community this year, including Carol Channing, Carol Hall, Neil Simon, Marin Mazzie, prematurely from cancer. And it was actually off the heels of the tribute to Marin Mazzie that they started the song Can You Feel the Love Tonight, which for me was really weird for 2 reasons. First of all, why are you singing Can You Feel the Love Tonight to remember all these people? Second of all, if you're talking about Marin Mazzie, why would you then sing a song from the show which famously upset Ragtime as Best Musical? What were you thinking, Tony Awards? But the performance by Cynthia Erivo was just absolutely stunning. She did this option up on Kings and Vagabonds, which I don't think any of us will ever forget.
It's enough to make kings out of vagabonds.
One of the nice things about the American Theater Wing is that they actually have a full list of all the members of the Broadway community who died in the past year on their website. Obviously, they can't include everybody on the telecast, but I was happy to see my personal friends Trent Ormond Kendall and stage manager director Malcolm Ewan, both of whom I've worked with in the last couple of years, listed on their website. So I'll link that down below. Unfortunately, a lot of shows are hinging on Tony wins in order to stay open. Today I saw that Gary, a sequel to Titus Andronicus, posted their closing notice. I really hope that The Prom, which unfortunately went 0 for 7 at the Tony Awards on Sunday, can keep their doors open. One of the things that they tried this year for the first time, I think, was having the authors of the various plays kind of pitch their show. It was a mixed bag. Taylor Mack, I think, did a really nice job selling Gary. The gentleman from The Ferryman kind of rambled on and changed course. Maybe the Tonys should reel it in a little bit. I thought all the nominated musicals did a really nice job with all their performances. High energy, really nice adaptations from their home theaters to the Radio City. One of the highlights for me actually was Choir Boy, which was a play with music that closed a couple months ago after a limited run at Manhattan Theater Club. I missed it the first time around, but I was really happy that I was able to catch a snippet. For a lot of people, the Tony Awards is the only time that they can see excerpts from these musicals and plays. As always, we ran long. I don't know why all the other award shows managed to end on time. God bless Ben Platt, who probably has a side job as one of those guys who reads the warnings at the end of an infomercial. He was literally talking a mile a minute. I also felt bad for Santino Fontana, who won as Best Actor for Tootsie. He was another one who won at the end of the night and had to really cut his speech short, or at least talk really fast. Bryan Cranston was the big winner for Best Actor for Network. I thought his shtick at the beginning when he was going to the bathroom and he was bloated as hell and he couldn't take it anymore was a little beneath the Tony Awards, but who knows. So, what did you think? What awards did you agree with? What didn't you agree with? What award didn't I talk about that you wish I had? Should I have said Stephanie J. Block? I'm saying Stephanie J. Block now. She won, for sure. Do you have any favorite Tony performances through the years? Any and all things Tony related, let me know down in the comments. I will see you next week on Pardo's Turn. Until then, so long.